Good morning, everybody. So I can't remember. Do we work on flashcard or say hello on Saturdays? I just don't even remember. I'm going to change gears. Just got done working with space and time, and so now I'm going to go to my other one, and I feel like maybe I can tell flashcards. So it looks like say hello is the one that I worked on last. So let's go into say hello. I don't even remember really what we did. So we are changing gears. So first thing I do when I change gears, I just kind of wanted to go over this, is I come into this and I say view open recent, and then yeah, say hello. This is another validation to me that say hello is the last one, the farthest away. So it's the one. Um, so now we got our say hello. Then we can see whenever I come in here, I'll see at the bottom the name of the branch that I'm working on. And this, oh, it's still trying to figure that out. I also in say hello, know I have some issues, and usually the issue, okay, four things removed. Issue four things removed. Default, add tile effects, open last week. Okay, so I don't, okay, and that's the law. That's the okay. So I have a wrench. I feel like this was a really badly named thing. And it's kind of a nice thing about spending a whole week between because I actually get to read this with fresh eyes. Four things removed. So that's probably I wrote that more like I would write a Git comment, not um, Angular provided default code. Okay, so I feel like okay, so I should edit this name. Issue four, remove four things. One default code. See, sometimes things just make total sense when you do it, and then you come back a week later, they don't make sense anymore. And it's really useful to you to sort of go through that experience because then you can get better. Um, you, I feel like I always learn a lot more from my misses than I do from my successes. But like when you're at work, you really don't want to be missing. You want to get things right at work. Okay, so Angular provided, please remove default code. So let's go ahead. Let's go back. Try to kind of get a grip on what's going on here. So basically, I have two folders at the top, and then I have my UI and I have my Cypress. So let's go into UI and then let's go back down. Let's go into the source code and just validate that we do have a bunch of. Well, we don't though. Looks like we already did it. All right, git log. Merge the pull request. Okay. Maybe, okay. Maybe, okay, so it looks like I already removed it. Angular provided default. So let's look in the main, oh, wait, I'm crazy. That's not, there's no default. I mean, there is some default code, but this is not what I was talking about. And so let's go, I have no idea why we did, okay, so let's close this. Let's close this. Let's close that. Now, inside of our app, yes, we have a bunch of default code. All right, so let's go ahead and run this thing npm start. All right, so we're going to do the first one. The first one. Oh, I didn't see the say hello UI npm start. I'll tell you, probably the biggest reason that I do coding not at work it used to be that most of my coding, like literally 90%, and it probably still is the case. No, I don't know if it's the case. It's probably more like 65 to 70% of all the code that I write is at work. The only reason it isn't 90 is because at my current job, I do a lot more analysis and I do a lot more of like having meetings to try to ferret out exactly what we're trying to do and stuff like that. Um, but about the majority of my code is written at work and it's written like sort of in a under duress, sort of like I have to get it right kind of thing. Um, so, and I got to where I just really didn't like it. I didn't like coding anymore. Nothing to do with my current job. Just like I just was had gotten a point, and I would hear people say like, "Oh, you should do something you love for your job because it'll never feel like work." And it's like, no, work feels like work. Work is work. Like in the United States, 100% chance that if there's a way for people to get this something done for free, they'll get it done for free. So, um, work is hard, and that's why they pay you. That's the only reason they pay you. So work is work, and if you do something you love and you only do it at work, you will hate it. So you have to do some hobby, fun coding. You have to. If you don't do that, it's going to drive you nuts. Um, so now that I've seen this up here, I do want to fix this, even though I'm not. I'm kind of working outside of my story or my issue. Say hello, UI. It's probably not going to be the final. Okay, so this is easy, right? I don't think. Yeah, see, it doesn't really do anything we need, so we're just going to say Control A, delete, and then we're going to say hello. Coming. And we'll just see so that's good. And now we're going to come into our app TS. Okay, we will eventually need the router outlet, but I think as of Angular 20, it started complaining about that. And then we're going to get rid of this. I do like how they have that test already. Title. I'm just going to change this. Say hello UI. So I'm not technically doing what the issue said. And actually, that's something that like I think a lot of managers that stuff don't understand is that when you get to make those calls, it's so much faster. Like if I had to say, can I leave this there? I know it says to delete all of that, but I want to leave this here. And the main reason I want to leave it there is because now we have these unit tests. So now the unit tests are definitely going to break, right? Um, so let's do this. And I'm going to go into there again, cd, say hello UI, oof, cd s. I saw that it was highlighted, so I thought I could just hit enter, but I had to hit tab first or something. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. npm run test. And one thing to keep in mind is this is not Karma Jasmine, if I remember correctly. I believe it looks just like it. It looks just like Karma Jasmine, but it is actually Byte. Okay, so they all ran. It didn't pop up my coverage. It didn't do any of the stuff we wanted. Now, I do remember going through this last week in our other projects. So let's go ahead and look at our other projects, see what we did. Because I remember it taking a good amount of time. And why deal with that if we could just go see what we did? I think I had to install new stuff and all that. So flashcards. let's see. Let's go ahead and this is a bit different for me. So I have two branches. Okay, so that I want to see the history. It's weird for me. It's always strange to me that it's not obvious how to see the history your of your branch. All right, so my branch is there. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, so here's my 10 commits. Apparently, this is probably what. Okay, so this was issue one commit. I wonder. So I'm guessing all this did was remove stuff. Okay, so that was in Cypress though. So that's not what I was looking for. Unit test commit. So this was our unit test commit. Okay, so it looks like we changed this line to this. Watch false coverage. We also installed VI test coverage v8, and then we changed this. And this is what makes me see this. I'm a little frustrated with myself because whatever I did to install this, I should have. Um, there should be like a command for that in here. So that I think was a mistake, but I'm not going to make that mistake again. So let's see. Install Vite Gov. And I'm guessing it is npm install. And we'll make sure we're in the right one. Yeah, we're in the Say Hello UI. And I think we can just copy this at Vite coverage. So this is more for historical purposes. So that, like, if I'd have done this in that commit, I would have, I could just copy this. The other thing I want to do is this. I want to change that to that. And I want to probably put that. Oh, I guess I'm just replacing the whole thing. Put a comma in there. Okay, so now npm run install, and I double check that I'm in this say hello folder in here. So I don't want to install test coverage in the top folder. Install dash. It's kind of weird. I wonder why it didn't offer that to me. I guess it doesn't read that. Run install. That's weird. Install VIT cov. So basically this should install that test coverage. Now I think this is say hello. Yeah, so say hello is also going to be super route dependent. So because of that is the only reason why I want to kind of set up the deployments and stuff early in the project, because routing is weird if you're not on the default. If you're not at the top of the thing of the path, right? So if it's like www.sayhello.com, it would work perfectly. But if you're going to say www.ilikemail.com/sayhello, that the routing gets a little weird. Not the routing itself, but the like trying to load things like videos and stuff like that gets weird. And this one's going to I think, going to make heavy use of videos. All right, so now we have Vite test and we have our new test. It would be nice if there was a like. See, I think I'm the only person that does this, but it would be nice if this was a different kind of script. Like if you had install scripts, but I don't think most people keep that. But I feel like this saves my butt on a regular basis. npm run test. And what I'm hoping is that we get a nice pop-up with our unit test. And our unit test should fail because I don't think we're loading the right, we're looking for the right title. So it's supposed to say hello UI. And it did fail. And I believe it should have created a test coverage. Yep. Created a test coverage, which is in fact, well, it created the folder, but it didn't seem to actually, oh, I don't know. For some reason that did not quite work. Maybe it's done now. So I have the one failed test. My coverage did not get generated. Let's just make sure that my package says watch false. Oh, coverage. Okay. I think I want it to be true. Let's try that. I feel like they said that it wouldn't work with true. It won't actually run it unless there's an actual change when you have that to true, which is bizarre. Yeah, so it didn't actually run it because it was looking for a change in there. And I don't like I'm frustrated that we're not getting our code coverage generated. So one of them passed and one of them failed. So let's go ahead and see like we can't see why it failed. Oh, here we go. Yes, actually, there it is. Given a combination of arguments, should render tell. Okay, that is a bizarre error. Oh, okay, so we don't have a selector either. So we want to get rid of the selector because we don't have it. I guess we could put it in an H1. Let's see what we get when we have H1. Maybe that was what it was upset about. So let's come in here and just put an H1 selector around it. And it is very, very frustrating when you like, you put a lot of time into like learning how something works and then they change it out from under you like that. And now there's just all these subtle differences. Um, okay, so that was definitely better. And it's saying that, hey, it expected hello, say hi, but it actually got say hello coming soon. So if you've been doing unit tests for a while, you know that it's best just to take whatever it was expecting and put it in there if you know that that's what you're looking for. So let's go ahead and change this. I wonder if I change it to watch now, and I wonder if we have a coverage. Yeah, it's not generating the coverage. That is so frustrating. Um, so I'm going to go to my package. I'm going to change this to true. And then I'm going to start this thing running. And I'm going to come back into my spec and I'm going to change my spec. I don't even know if it watches. I don't think, like in Karma Jasmine, it watches the actual tests. I think it only watches the. So it didn't. I don't. I think it actually did run it this time, so I don't know. So it did watch the test. It's saying everything passed, and then it gave me coverage, and so it says it only has that's missing a cover. In app TS, there's something not being covered. And I don't know what that is. Okay, cool. So we have that. All right, I guess we're going to figure that out now. Let's go to index. Yeah, so it's saying that it's missing a branch. Okay, that is weird. And it's saying that this is the branch it's missing, so I don't even have a branch. Oh, maybe it's because it's a signal and it doesn't ever get called without the signal. I don't know. This is weird. Um, and very frustrating. Um, so we do not even have a branch. All we have is some code that runs out, and all it does is signal something, and it's showing a yellow. Let's see. See if it gave me a code coverage. Uncovered line number 10. Maybe that is so weird. Wonder if I create a constructor if it'll. Nope, it's still saying that there's an uncovered branch. And okay, let's see if anyone's complained about this. Although ChatGPT is getting so dicey, and so it's just having all kinds of issues. Okay. New Angular app. V21, right? This is a V21, right? Version 21. Default unit tests. Uh, with test coverage, showing that my app does not have 100% coverage because so sometimes you don't have to give it a lot. And since we're right at the cutting edge, okay, so I added that. That didn't do any good. Okay, so and then I say this is the code. The code. This is expected. It's not expected of me. Even though the component is created, nothing ever reads and evaluates the title. Oh, so okay, so it's saying that, but if I wanted, I can do this. And then so I could just do this. I don't think I want to actually paste what I copied. I don't know why I have a little. Oh, because I need my signals have to be executed. Executed. Ah, okay, that's bizarre. Oh, that's right, because we did change it. We changed the actual thing, but we should have our 100% now, right? Okay, that stinks. So apparently, unless you have all passing unit tests, it does not run the unit. It doesn't generate the coverage, which I don't think is a good idea. I think that's a bad idea. Okay, what did it get? Okay, so I don't want that UI. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. That's the oh, it's still showing. Okay, so it's still showing the branch. So if I did a constructor, how about this? Constructor. And I can't even tell you how much I would rather be putzing around with this right now than like in a professional environment. Um, so this is like a double bonus. Like I'm getting to learn about something cool um, and it's a relaxed and it'll likely like if we ever create it still didn't though. If we ever create a new thing. All right, so all right, so even okay, so I added in the template. And I even added a console log constructor. And this is like just par for the course when you're working on something like this. Um, just weird ass things not working the way you would expect them. It's still showing a missing badge. Okay, this is not okay. I think this is Vite. And hopefully it can correct me if I'm misunderstanding. I love how they blame this on car more cleanly, even more clean. So this is so wrong. Like I trying to use ChatGPT for my fantasy football, and I was trying to determine between two players, and one plays for New Orleans and the other plays for Minnesota. And I was saying I I don't know. I kind of think maybe the Minnesota guy will do better, but they're showing that it would do worse, and we were kind of going over it, and it was like, well, no, the Minnesota guys very, very much more likely to do better because Minnesota's still in the fight for trying to get into the playoffs and stuff, and it was wrong. Like Minnesota's out, and I was playing frisbee last night, and I mentioned that to someone, and they're like, no, to a Minnesota fan, they're like, no, we're out. We were out when the Bears won their game, and I was like, yeah, it's just like completely wrong. And that's because I'm sure it was dealing with information from the previous week. So let's reset the mental model, karma. This is not karma anymore. It never was. It never ever was. Uh, Byte for dev and test, by the way. Byte tests for you to test C8 V8 coverage instead of. Oh wow. So that's interesting. So it doesn't use Istanbul either. Um, Native Rajput, which is stricter than Istanbul's ever was. Great. Even when they don't exist in your TypeScript. Okay, that. So V8 apparently counts. And V8, this would be confusing because V8 is the name of the version of Angular, I think, or the Angular, not Angular, the JavaScript. There's a JavaScript compiler named V8. So they've just made everything a lot more complicated by naming whatever this is V8. Okay. Well, because the branch is initialized at the time, not at usage. This is a known and accepted reality with Vite V8 coverage and factory-styled APIs. The correct fix is Vite aware. Oh Lord! See, this is it's a trap. They're in the ventilation shafts. Okay, so it's a trap because yeah, they're saying to do this now, and then in 6 months, when they fix this, they're gonna be like, "What? You shouldn't do that. That's horrible. Why would you ignore the next line? Ignore the file, relax the branch cut provider V8 thresholds branches 99. Coverages are imperative. You're saying it's spot on. The branch is not testable. Don't fight V8 coverage. Okay. All right. So basically, this sucks. Um, I suspect that the Vite Vite folks will fix this issue eventually. A short, honest answer: SVite is likely to improve, but it may never be fixed the way we intuitively. This isn't really a bug in Vite. See, this sounds like this is probably the reason that they deprecated Karma Jasmine was because of little weird issues like this, and here we are again. Doesn't see a conditional path, it reports it. No, it's not. There is no perspective in which that is correct. This is bullshit. Um, Eventually, this would be optimized if not a semantic fix. It's just doable. It's doable, not trivial. Yeah. Disable branch threshold by default. Why this won't block Angular adoption? What do I care? I don't care about this. Um, okay, so I don't want to disable. I don't want to disable the line because when they eventually do fix issue, I will look like a moron for disabling something that no one understands. Will understand in the future. Yeah, that is it. Yeah, you will look at best like a moron. At worst, you will look like a a scumbag, like a slimy person. Eventually go away. It's reasonable standards, so let's talk. I think not wrong about they will fix this. The pressure will get on these guys. They think that they can just say, "Oh yeah, well it's not really a bug." Trust me, the pressure is coming. I remember when I worked my very first job in Boeing, they would say, "Okay, whenever the Air Force comes and says, 'Can we have this change?' and you're like, 'Well, not really. It's going to be difficult.' Start working on that because in 6 months they're going to demand that you make the change. This is one of those changes. This will happen. They will not. Now, I may have to do something or whatever. Um, so, why this is defensible forever? This is not. Uh, yeah, this they should put amen at the end of that because that is a prayer. This is somebody praying that they don't realize they're praying it. They think they're smart, but that's not what I would not do. What I would not do. What is exactly what I told you to do. No, I don't want. This is even worse. Oh, okay, so this, yeah, changing the coverage. Yeah, no, changing the coverage will make you really look like. Changing the coverage uh, code coverage config won't make me look like a fool in the future. It will make me look like a fraud in the future. I've seen these things play out plenty of times to know. And that's the kind of thing that the Angular upgrade tool will do that. Not a technical one. You're basically saying, I don't want the future me or someone else to think that I weaken sentences to make the numbers good. That's not imposture. That's engineering integrity. So let's frame it. Okay, so I don't care about the rest of this shit. This is all just people just making excuses. Okay, so I want a slightly snippy comment, snarky comment to put right before the untested branch. Fair, you're going to leave a marker, so it should be honest, restrained, and unmistakably not apologetic. Here's a few options from HRI Snarky Tools. Lightly spicy, of which will age well and make you, and no, it won't make you look. Um, V8 reports synthetic branches here due to signal initialization. No executable condition exists in the application. Oh no. There's a phantom branch at compile. Oh, I like that one. Coverage tool artifact signal introduces a phantom branch at compile time. There's nothing to test here. Yeah, that is funny. Subtle snark senior dev tone. This branch is introduced by coverage tool and not by any decision in the code. Yes, coverage thinks there's a branch here. No, there isn't. Oh, I love this one. Okay. Copy. The problem with the first one is it doesn't actually explain the issue. Problem with the first one does not actually explain the problem. Explain the problem in the report. This could actually sharpen the goal nicely. You don't want the comment to explain the issue. You want the signal intent and acknowledge it absurdity without duplicating the coverage. Today's tool. Wow, that today's tooling in details in Amber. There's a subtle very you've been at this. This is not a real decision point. Okay. That I feel like that's still too like declared but not declared. Okay. So okay. Want to say that there is a false error the report at this time that will hopefully get resolved in the future. And see, if you're on a team and you're like a senior dev and you put something in there and you could falsely sort of tell junior developers it's okay just to comment out anything. Known false positive coverage at the time of writing. There we go. Coverage false part at time of writing. No actual behavior is. I think the first one, I do think that was a good one. This is a good one. All right, so we're going to get rid of this altogether. And then we're going to get this, and we're going to put this comment here. And then that's all we can do. That's all we can do. So we did not have this problem in Karma, Jasmine. We were able to get to 100% even with signals. I think. I don't know. Maybe, it's okay. Here's what's funny about this is that I actually only left this here because I thought they had figured the signals thing out. Okay. All right, what was left in this issue? Oh, I'm in the wrong. This is say hello. Let's see, what was there anything else in this issue other than this? Fix the unit tests. Okay. Add a title. Okay, we already have a title. That'll be interesting to see. I think Cypress will have no problem with this. Okay, so I got the first three done. Done. One next week. So I'm going to add that comment because I feel like I've spent enough time on this. I am glad that we worked all through this. I don't know exactly what I would say like in a new if I worked at a place. I can't really provide any guidance. That sucks. It sucks that just out of the box Vite doesn't handle this, which is probably like one of the things was not supporting signals. It's probably why one of the major things is reasons they got rid of supporting the Karma Jasmine setup that had been working great for years, and then they didn't even solve it. Um, so that was issue 4. It's still open. I do want to create a new issue though, and that's set up DreamHost hosting and deployment. DreamHost and deployment. And then I'm just going to create it. So if I finish this next week, the Cypress thing, then we'll be good, and we'll move on to this DreamHost hosting a deployment thing. So yeah, I don't know. I'm like I said, I would much rather sort of work through these sorts of like I would have definitely assumed that we would get 100% test coverage out of the out of the gate. And I don't know. I think maybe just depending on how much like at my current job, I would just put a comment here. I'd explain to my boss what the deal is and all that. And that's what I would do because like I have a really good working relationship with my boss. But like I've worked in past places where they're not looking to hear anything like that, and I probably would just remove this line of code, or I would make this line of code not a signal. Um, and that would kick the can down the road. Sooner or later, we would have to figure out if we're going to use signals. Maybe I would just not use signals in this scenario at all, just because you can't get the unit tests. And I actually think that is what's going to happen. I think until Vite gets this worked out, people who are in professional environments where they are expected to get test coverage will avoid signal variables at all costs. They will only use them if they absolutely have to use them. And I think at some point, the folks over at Angler are going to be like, wait, why are people not taking this up? And then they're going to be like, oh crap, they because it's a guaranteed missing branch. And a lot of these organizations say that you have to have like 80% test coverage or 70% test coverage, and you've just guaranteed a branch. And usually branches are the biggest problem, and you've just created an unfixable branch that's 100%. This is truly the absolute definition of tech debt. Um, and it's like a barnacle. Like you got a ship and now you've got a barnacle and and another barnacle and another barnacle, and these barnacles will eventually make it to where you can't use the ship anymore. So folks at Vite, I hope you guys get this squared away, because this is a problem. This is a what you would call a poison pill in your testing system. Just free advice. No, and it's worth what you paid for it. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.